She walked into the diner with tears streaking down her face, clutching her trembling hands like she was holding herself together for the last time. And at the far corner booth, a group of rugged bikers, men everyone else avoided, noticed her before anyone else. What they did next would leave the entire diner stunned. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button because you're about to hear a story that will change the way you look at people forever. It was a warm, calm afternoon in the small town of Brenton, the kind of day where the sunlight filtered through the clouds in soft beams and everything moved at an easy pace. The old Pine Ridge Diner sat right at the edge of town, overlooking the long stretch of road that bikers and truckers used on their cross-country trips. Inside, the smell of sizzling bacon, warm bread, and fresh coffee lingered in the air, filling the booths where regular customers chatted casually about weekend plans, weather changes, or nothing important at all. At the back corner of the diner, where the windows cast long golden shadows across the table, 4 bikers sat together. They weren't loud, they weren't rude, they weren't the type to cause any trouble. But most people avoided them anyway. Their leather vests, tattoo sleeves, heavy boots, and stern expressions made them look intimidating. People only saw their rough edges, never their stories, never their reasons for riding together, never the brotherhood that held them close. The leader of the group, a tall man named Hawk, sat quietly stirring his coffee, lost in his own thoughts. Beside him were Ryder, Tank, and Smoke, each of them carrying their own silent histories. The diner was peaceful until the front door suddenly swung open, hitting the wall with a loud thud that made everyone jump. A young woman stepped in, or rather, stumbled in. She looked barely 20, her hair messy, her shirt wrinkled, and her eyes red and swollen from crying. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she pressed her hands together like she was trying to prevent her whole world from falling apart. Everyone in the diner turned to look, but no one moved. Some pretended not to see. Some stared for a second before returning to their meals. And some whispered quietly about drama they knew nothing about. But the bikers saw everything. They noticed the shaking in her shoulders, the quick panicked breaths, the bruises on one arm half hidden beneath her sleeve. They watched as she sat down at the counter, her body trembling like she had run for a long time. The waitress, a middle-aged woman named Linda, walked over slowly, unsure of what to say. But before she could even speak, the girl's voice broke. "Please, I just need a minute. I don't know where else to go." Her voice was thin, fragile, like it might disappear any second. The entire diner fell silent, the kind of silence that makes the ticking of a wall clock sound like thunder. Hawk exchanged a look with Ryder. They could feel something was wrong. Very wrong. The waitress gently placed a glass of water in front of the girl. But before she could ask anything, the girl flinched at the sound of a truck screeching outside. Her head shot up, eyes filled with fear, like she expected danger to burst through the door at any moment. Smoke leaned forward, his eyebrows tightening as he watched her react. Something wasn't adding up. The door opened again, but this time it wasn't danger. It was an older couple stepping inside, looking confused at the tense atmosphere. When they took their seats, the noise slowly resumed, forks clinking against plates, muted conversations rising again though quieter than before. But the biker's focus never shifted, not for 1 second. A few minutes passed before the girl wiped her eyes with her sleeve. The waitress returned, speaking softly. "Honey, you're safe here. Do you need help? Do you want us to call someone?" The girl shook her head. She opened her mouth as if she wanted to speak, but her throat closed again. Her shoulders shook as fresh tears fell. The bikers were ready to intervene, but Hawk didn't want to overwhelm her. People who are scared rarely respond well to crowds. Then it happened. A black pickup truck screeched to a stop in front of the diner, its tires grinding against gravel. Everyone turned toward the window. The bike group saw the door slam open and a thick, broad man in a dirty gray hoodie stepped out. His face was red, furious, and full of rage. The girl froze when she saw the truck. Her eyes widened in terror. "That's him," she whispered under her breath, though the bikers still heard it. The man stormed toward the diner entrance with heavy steps. Linda, the waitress, stepped back nervously, sensing the tension rising as the air became thick with fear. The girl grabbed her bag, clutching it tightly to her chest, preparing herself for something terrible. Before the door opened, Hawk stood up slowly, not with anger, but with intention. Ryder, Tank, and Smoke rose behind him like a coordinated wave. The customers didn't understand yet, but the girl did. Her breathing eased slightly as she looked at them. The man burst in. "There you are," he shouted, pointing directly at her. "You think you can run from me? Get up, we're leaving." People turned away awkwardly. No one wanted to get involved. No one wanted a scene. But Hawk stepped forward, positioning himself between the man and the girl. "She's not going anywhere with you," Hawk said calmly. "Not a threat, not a challenge, just a statement." The man scoffed. "Move. This is none of your business." Tank's voice came next, deep and slow. "It becomes our business when you walk in yelling at a girl who's crying." The man clenched his fists, stepping closer. But Ryder caught the movement first, placing one boot forward in silent warning. The diner had gone completely quiet again. Every eye was on the confrontation. The girl finally spoke, her voice soft but brave. "Please leave me alone." The man spun toward her. "You don't get to tell me that." A Smoke stepped in closer. "You better rethink what you're doing, pal." The man turned back toward Hawk. "She's my girlfriend. We had a fight. That's all." The girl shook her head. "No, I broke up with you today. You followed me. You grabbed me. You wouldn't stop screaming at me. And you—" She paused when her voice cracked. Hawk took a breath. She said, "No, that's enough." The man looked around at the group of bikers, 4 strong, determined men with unwavering stares. His bravado cracked. He tried to mask his fear with anger, but it was too late. Everyone could see it. "You think you're tough," he spat. Tank leaned forward. "We don't have to be tough, just decent." The man's eyes darted toward the girl one last time. But he could see she wasn't alone anymore. Not today. Not with these bikers standing guard like a shield around her. Realizing he was outmatched, he stepped back, muttered something no one cared to hear, and stormed out of the diner. The engine of his truck roared aggressively as he sped away, leaving dust in his trail. The moment he disappeared down the road, the girl broke into sobs. But this time, they weren't cries of fear. They were cries of release. Relief, safety. Linda rushed over with a warm towel and a fresh plate of pancakes she didn't even order. The bikers gently guided the girl toward their booth, letting her sit while they sat around her like a quiet wall of safety. "What's your name?" Hawk asked softly. "Emily," she whispered. "You're safe now, Emily." She nodded, wiping her eyes. For the first time that day, her breathing steadied. As she began to talk, the story unfolded. A controlling boyfriend, months of manipulation, repeated fights, and a final attempt to leave. She had packed a bag that morning, hoping to escape to her sister's place in another town. But he had followed her, grabbing her arm in public, yelling when she tried to walk away. And she had run into the diner hoping someone would help. "You did the right thing coming here," Ryder assured her. Smoke added, "And we'll make sure he doesn't come back bothering you again." Emily managed a small smile. The first one she had shown all day. An older man at a nearby table approached. "I just wanted to say thank you," he said to the bikers. "Most folks wouldn't have stepped in." The Hawk shrugged. "Most folks are better than they think. They just need a reason to act." The afternoon slipped into early evening as Emily slowly regained her calm. The bikers offered to escort her to the bus station, and Linda packed her an extra meal for the trip. When Emily stood to leave, she hesitated, then hugged Hawk, then Ryder, then Tank and Smoke one by one. "You didn't even know me," she said, "but you protected me like family." Hawk smiled gently. "Sometimes family isn't the one you're born with. Sometimes it's the one that steps in when you need it." Emily left safely, escorted by the group of men no one in town ever truly understood. Until that day. The bikers returned to the diner booth, but now they weren't seen as intimidating strangers. They were seen as protectors, real heroes in leather jackets. And the story spread through town faster than wildfire. People whispered not about troublemakers, but about the men who stood up when no one else dared. And the Pine Ridge Diner would forever remember the day the girl walked in crying. And the bikers who reacted instantly.